Yeah.
Oh, he's gonna multiply the times.
Yeah, so everyone have a copy of the notes?
Si, senor.
Alright, so yesterday, we were just factoring quadratic trinomials where a was 1, right? Now today, we're going to be doing the same thing, except today a is not going to be 1. It's going to be all kinds of other values. So basically, we're just going to be doing the same thing. We're still going to be using the diamond method, but now we're also going to be factoring by grouping. And I'll show you when we do that. So this first practice problem, 5x squared plus 11x plus 2. We always find our a, b, and c first. So what's a, b, and c in this one?
5, 11, and 2. 5, 11, and 2.
5, 11, and 2, that's right. Alright, so first model there, it's a times c up top now. So in this one, a times c, a is 5, c is 2. So we just do 5 times 2 upstairs. Put b on the bottom, b is 11, so that's where that goes.
5 times 2 is 10.
Alright, so yesterday, we could have done a times c, but a was always 1 yesterday, right? And what's 1 times anything?
That's all.
Right. So we could have done a times c yesterday, but we didn't because it would just been one more step that we didn't really need to do. So now we're just moving it on to here. So 5 times 2 is 10, and 11. Now we're just back to what we were doing yesterday.
Same thing.
Pretty much. So now we're looking for two numbers. When we multiply them, we get 10. When we add them, we get 11.
10 and 1.
10 and 1. So there's that. All right, now yesterday, once we got here, we just plugged those into our final answers, right? But we can't do that today. So now what we do is, whatever we found, we break those up into our x's. So this would be 10x and 1x.
Oh, okay.
So if you look at what we started, 5x squared plus 11x plus 2, that 11x, we're just breaking that up into two pieces. And we use the diamond method to figure out what two numbers that we use for those pieces. So if we rewrite this with our broken up pieces, this can be renamed as 5x squared plus 10x plus 1x plus 2. Mm-hmm. All right, so right now, all we've done is change our quadratic 3-term polynomial into a 4-term polynomial. And now since it is 4 terms, now we can factor by grouping. So, our first group, we can make 5x squared plus 10x. That's our first group. Plus 1x plus 2. That's our second group. Now that we have our two groups, what do we do with them?
Common factors.
We find the greatest common factor of each group, right? So this first group, what is the GCF of 5x squared plus 10x?
5x.
5x. We can factor out a 5x from both terms, and what are we left with?
5x plus 2.
X plus 2. And we do plus, now we find the GCF of our second group. So what can we take out of both terms in that group?
1.
Just 1. So 1, and what are we left with?
X plus 2.
X plus 2.
And then x plus 2 times 5x plus 1.
Alright, then we're just keep on doing factoring by grouping like we did a couple days ago. They both have a common factor. What is it? They both have the same factor. X plus 2, right? So we can factor that out of both sides. Then once we do that, we have leftovers, right? And what are we left over with?
5x plus 1.
5x plus 1. So this right here is the factor name of the trinomial we started with. And this would be your final answer. Now yesterday I let you guys off the hook with check problems, but today we actually have to do them all. So, we can do either method, you can FOIL it, you can use the rectangle method. I don't care which, but you have to do one. So when you guys FOILed it out or used the rectangle method, either way, did you get 5x squared plus 1x plus 10x plus 2? So this really can be combined to be, oh dear, no, not that one. There we go. Plus 11x plus 2. Is that what we started with? Yes, it is. So does it check out? Alright. Alright, so quick thing. What do we get in our O and I steps when we FOILed it? Or if you use rectangle
Are
method?
11 are broken apart.
We got 1 and 10, right? The numbers that we broke up are 11 and 2. So when we're using the diamond method, we're really finding the O and I set, or 2 of the rectangles when you use the rectangle method. So we're not finding the n terms of our binomials. Okay? Alright. Moving on to the back side now. Number 2, 4x squared minus 14x plus 6. What's our a, b, and c?
4, negative 14, 6.
4, negative 14, 6. Looks good to me. Upstairs we do a times c, so we have 4 times 6. Downstairs we have negative 14, our b value. Just bring everything over, 24, negative 14. Alright, now we're looking for 2 numbers.
Negative 12,
Negative 12, negative
negative 2.
2. Do those multiply to be positive 24? Do they add together to be negative 14? Yes, they do, so those work out. So now we just rewrite our trinomial as a 4-term polynomial. Now we have it rewritten, now we can just group up our terms into 2 groups. So 4x squared plus negative 12x is our first one. Negative 2x plus 6 becomes our second one. So someone tell me, what's the greatest common factor of that first group we have? What can we factor out of both terms in that first group? 4x. Okay, so we can factor that out. What are we left with?
X minus 3.
X plus -3, same thing. Now, did our first group, now I have to do the second group. What's the GCF of that one?
-2.
-2. And what are we left with?
X minus 3.
X minus 3, X plus -3. Right. Now after we found the GCF of both groups, they both have a common factor, right? It's X plus -3 or X minus 3. So we can take that out front. Once we factor it out, we have leftovers, and what are they? 4x plus -2. And if we want to clean up our answer, it's just x minus 3 times 4x minus 2. Are we done yet?
No.
No, we're not. What do we have to do?
Check.
Check it. So you can do it either way, like I said. Either one is fine, as long as you do it. Did everyone's check out when they did it? So you got 4x squared minus 2x minus 12x and 6. Yeah. You guys are so quiet today. I'm tired. Yeah, me too. Alright, anyone have any questions so far? This is pretty straightforward, it's just combining all the things we've done so far. Alright. Then, if you guys are so smart, you can try number 3 by yourselves then.
Wait. This What I just wrote this as L minus 1 minus X. Because we're separating B. How would you? Because you always separate B to the 4th term. I just wrote minus 1 minus X.
think most of you are getting done close to the check problem anyway. So when we check this out, FOIL it, rectangle method, doesn't matter. FOIL it, what do you get for your F step, for your first step?
3x times squared,
And what's that?
6x squared,
6x squared. Your O step,
9x,
9x,
negative 10.
negative 10x. And the last one is negative 15. So when we write that all out, when we combine our like terms, 6x squared minus x minus 15.
Checks
Is that what we started with? Yes, it is.
Do we have to show both values, or can we just?
So we want to show both the x.
Yep.
Just take one.
All right, anyone have any questions about any of this? We're still using the diamond method. Now we're just introducing factoring by grouping along with it. And none of this should be new stuff. You just use the diamond method, factoring by grouping,